Good evening and welcome to Family Life Education. This is the parenting class and I'm Dr. Sabrina Black, the professor. We're joined this evening by Christina. Welcome, Christina.
Pleasure to be here.
We're so glad to have you as we talk about some of the other issues relating to parenting. We've talked about life management skills, we've talked about sexuality, we've talked about raising children, but there are a few other questions that we'd still like to address, and we're so glad that you're willing to just talk about whatever it is as it relates to single parenting. Well, one of the questions we'd like to know, Christina, is tell us your testimony about being a single parent.
Oh, well, my testimony as a single parent started with me being a teen mom at age 17.
All right.
So I understand what it's like to be a teenager who does not have a clue about what parenting involves, and just having made some poor choices about what to do in life. And so my testimony is that even though I have been a teen mom of my first two children, and having been married and all of those things, that I am now an empty nester.
Wow.
Who has...
Are those two children, or did you have others?
I also had 3 additional children.
Okay.
And so I have a total of 5 children. And then because I'm in a blended family dynamic, I also have 2 stepchildren that I just have lots of insight into various aspects of parenting, just to encourage you that you can make it through whatever happens. Whatever happens in your life with your children, as it was my case, I have one of my children was born with special needs. He was born with a birth defect. And I also had one of my children to run away from home and all of those kinds of things. And in the midst of all of that, was overwhelmed. Totally overwhelmed, and even walked away for a period of time. But understand that today, I know what it's like to have your life come back together.
Wow,
so if some of your viewers have made poor choices in your parenting, there is such a thing as having everything come back together if you put God first as all of your other integral.
Glad to hear that. You talked about you walked away. That sounds like the mom who ran away from home?
Literally.
Wow.
Literally.
See, and I bet some of those moms are watching her saying, oh my God, pulling my hair out, I'd love to just run away. Well, she ran away, but she came back.
Well, I want to say, first of all, don't do it.
Good, thank you.
I would do anything to have been able to go back and be able to redo the things that I did. The choices that I made by spending those 5 years that I had away from my children, I was fortunate. I had a support system in my family where my parents and my siblings assisted my parents in taking care of my children for those 5 years.
You ran away for real.
I literally did.
Wow.
Yeah, I did.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't run away.
I'm saying that from experience. Don't do it. You don't want to do that.
Okay, but you sound like you've had a lot of variety of experience in terms of being a single parent, being a teenage mom, being a runaway mom, being a stepmom. Wow, you need to write a book about motherhood. I know you're holding a book here on parenting, but it sounds like you have a wealth of knowledge yourself about parenting that you may want to put in print.
Well, definitely have been working on writing some things about the different experiences and the wisdom that was gained from the downside of doing it. There's much better to be on the positive side, but when you find yourself overwhelmed and without the emotional support that you imagined you would have, you know, I just was ill-equipped for parenting, period.
And that's why parenting education is so important, and taking courses like Family Life Education and finding out what your local community offers is critical, because people need to be trained on how to raise their children.
Absolutely.
They need to be equipped for the work.
Don't I wish I had had some parenting classes back then.
A couple of questions for you, Christina. Why is it important to help your children develop friendships?
One of the reasons why you want your children to develop friendships is because, number one, they need social skills. The other thing is, what an awesome experience it is to have those who know you. And you want your children to have that experience. I personally have a group of friends who know me since I was younger. And the impact on my life has been that during times of crisis, I had someone who was always there to tell me the truth about what my situation was, whose counsel I could depend on. And of course, I'm saying that these should be friends who have the same value system that you do.
Great. You talk about times of crisis. what is it that a single parent should do, and who should they turn to in times of crisis?
Well, as all of us know, God is the first one that we want to turn to. It is nothing short of the peace that passes all understanding when we bring our petitions before Him with a thankful heart, as the scriptures instruct. But then, after that, one needs to literally begin to look for resources and find out where are the resources that are going to address your specific concerns. There are resources available for those who have children with special needs. There are resources for those single parents who have children who are dealing with just the emotional trauma of being in a single parent home. One of the things that, as a single mom, that I experienced was watching my son's desire for a father and in the absence of their father. So if you can get your sons, if you're a single mom, get them involved in some sporting programs where they would be able to be involved with a strong male figure who would provide leadership to them. All of those things are beneficial.
You know, as I'm listening to you, I'm making a list of chapters for your upcoming book.
Okay, all right.
Because again, we're talking about special needs, and we're talking about absentee fathers, and just all those things that are so important for young moms and single parents to know about. You're holding this great book here on parenting education, and one of the things I'd like to hear about, especially since you're a woman in the church, what are some things that the church can do to help provide support to single moms? And I know the book also has some suggestions.
Yes, it does. One of the things that I focused on when I was reading the material in the book was the special needs area, where you have those children who have certain types of needs that are placing them outside the average childhood experience. For example, there are those who have physical disabilities. And so one of the things that the church can do to assist a parent in that regard is to provide just a list of resources, even if they provided that list and had classes on how to care for a child that may be autistic. Why not have a class on those children who have learning disabilities? Maybe even offering to have their child involved in a sign language class so that they can sign for the church. It's just so many different ways that you can approach it.
Okay. Another question here. Parents often refer to their children as my little man or the little woman of the house. Why is that not helpful for child development?
One of the reasons why that's not helpful for child development is because you first have to accept the reality that your child is that, a child. And unfortunately for many of us, we have been around others and ourselves have treated children like they're tiny adults when their whole developmental process is not even complete. Research tells us, and one of the things that's cited in this particular text, is that when it comes to development in children, children really don't begin to have all of those skills until they're well beyond teen years. We're looking at 25 years old before we're completed with our developmental process. And so if you're looking for a little 4-year-old who just happens to wear a pair of slacks like Granddaddy, you know, and has this little swagger, and he's just as cute as he can be in that little 3-piece suit. The reality is he's a little boy, and he's only 4. He does not have a clue what consequences are. He does not have any life experience. And so you want them to really enjoy their childhood. And so they really aren't a little man or a little lady. They are children.
Well, I understand you're taking this course in family education, but for the parents who might be watching and wondering, where am I supposed to learn about child development? I mean, what can they do? Sure, they're taking this class.
Well, I would first recommend that they call Great Lakes Christian College and enroll in the class. It's definitely worth taking. It's filled with wisdom and insight. But as for what they can do, various colleges around the metro area offer parenting classes, not only parenting classes in general, but specific areas such as teens, single parenting, all of those kinds of resources are available at 211 in our area. If you call 211 and just simply let them know what your needs and concerns are, they'll be able to give you some specific direction, and hopefully your local church offer some ministry.
Well, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We really appreciate your time. And I want to just let you know that if you too would like to learn more about family education, please call Great Lakes Christian College. Again, this is Dr. Sabrina Black, and this is FLE 300. God bless you.
Bye-bye.